My name is Eleanor James, and Paris wasn't supposed to be the place I learned about betrayal. It was supposed to be my dream, studying literature and philosophy at Sorbonne, sipping espresso between classes, wandering through bookshops along the Seine. I'd imagined soft rain on cobblestones, the hush of historic libraries, and the gentle hum of French conversation surrounding me. And to be fair, some of that came true. What I hadn't pictured, what I could never have imagined, was her, Clara Reynolds. We met during our first year at the university. Both of us were British, new to Paris, slightly overwhelmed and pretending we weren't. Clara was bold where I was quiet, loud where I was thoughtful, and charming in a way that made people forgive her lateness, her forgetfulness, her chaos. She sat next to me in our first modern European thought lecture, wore a lavender beret and boots that didn't match. "I forgot my pen," she whispered. "Can I steal yours?" I passed her one. She grinned. "Merci." That was it. That was the beginning. Our friendship grew fast. Too fast, if I'm honest. Within weeks, we were inseparable. We studied in cafes, shared notebooks, wandered the Latin Quarter late at night with cheap wine and grand ideas. She always had stories about her ex in Oxford, about her wild gap year in Lisbon, about the novel she'd started but never finished. She talked, and I listened. When she struggled with assignments, I offered to help. When she failed a midterm in second year, I stayed up all night rewriting her essay with her. And in our final year, when she nearly missed the deadline for our capstone philosophy paper, the one that counted for 40% of our final grade, I spent 3 days in the library helping her finish it. Actually, scratch that. I basically wrote it. "I swear I'll owe you forever," she said at 2 a.m. on the last night. "I'm useless without you, Ellie." I laughed. "You're not useless, just distracted." She threw her arms around me. "You're the best thing that's ever happened to me." She said it like a joke, but something in her voice cracked a little. I didn't realize then what it meant. Graduation came, and with it, plans. I had an internship lined up with a publishing house in the 4th arrondissement. Clara wasn't sure yet. She floated ideas, something in PR, maybe journalism, or maybe she'd write that novel after all. "I'll figure it out," she said with a wink. "I always do." We took photos in front of the university, wearing our black robes and fragile smiles. She made a post on Instagram that afternoon. Some people find their soulmates in lovers, others in friends. Couldn't have made it without this one. Graduation, we did it. I reposted it, smiling like an idiot. I didn't know it would be the last time we spoke. A week after graduation, she stopped replying to my texts. I figured she was busy. I sent memes, no reply. I asked her if she wanted to meet for lunch. Nothing. Then came the silence that stretched. A month passed, then 2. Eventually, I stopped trying. It hurt, more than I expected. I didn't have many close friends in Paris. Clara had been my anchor in the chaos of university life. Losing her felt like losing the whole version of myself that bloomed during those years. But I told myself people grow apart. I tried to move on, until the post. I found it by accident. It was 6 months later, a Sunday morning. I was scrolling through LinkedIn, half asleep, when her name appeared on my feed. Clara Reynolds. I graduated top of my class from Sorbonne, writing a solo thesis on Nietzsche and postmodern thought while balancing freelance editorial work on the side. Success is about discipline and trusting your own voice. There was a photo of her sitting in a cafe, perfectly lit, laptop open, coffee art beside her. She looked flawless, professional, like she'd built her entire academic journey alone, from grit and grace. I stared at the screen, pulse rising. She was boasting about the paper I wrote, not helped with, not edited, wrote. She had ghosted me, erased me, then polished her image with my work. I clicked on the post again, rereading the line. Solo thesis. Discipline. trusting your own voice. I felt nauseous. The comments didn't help. Well deserved, Clara. You're such an inspiration. Queen of productivity. I closed the app, threw my phone on the bed, sat in the silence. I don't know how long I stayed there. I spent the next few days in a fog. Everything felt tainted. The coffee I loved tasted dull. The walk to my office felt heavy. I kept thinking of those nights in the library, her eyes bleary with panic, the way she clung to me and said I'd be nowhere without you. But I was nowhere now, and she was everywhere. I didn't want revenge. I wasn't that kind of person. But I wanted truth. Not for the world, maybe, but for myself. So I went back to the email thread where we exchanged drafts of the capstone paper, to the Word documents I'd saved, versions with track changes, my comments in the margins, the formatting I'd used to clean up her incoherent paragraphs. I found it all, including the final document, submitted under her name, yes, but emailed from my laptop because she was having connection problems that night. I had receipts. I didn't know what I was going to do with them, but I saved them all, backed them up, then backed them up again. And then something strange happened. A message. On a Wednesday afternoon, as I sat sipping an espresso at Café Saint-Sulpice, a notification blinked on my screen. From Clara Reynolds. Subject: Hey stranger. Ellie, I've been meaning to message you for ages. I'm so sorry I disappeared. I've just been so busy. Life got hectic, but I miss you. Let's catch up soon. Coffee. Sex, Clara. I stared at the screen. No apology, no explanation, just a sugar-coated tap on the door she slammed in my face. I didn't reply, not then, but I had a plan. That Friday, I messaged her back. Sure, coffee sounds nice. How about Sunday? Same cafe we used to go to. She responded in minutes. Perfect, can't wait. I could almost hear the excitement in her text, but it wasn't excitement I felt. It was clarity. I was done being erased. I arrived 10 minutes early. The cafe hadn't changed, still tucked away on the corner of Rue Bonaparte, with its pale green chairs, crooked chalkboard menus, and the smell of roasted hazelnut coffee floating through the open doors. It had once been our place, back when friendship felt effortless and loyalty unspoken. Now it was the setting for a reckoning. I chose the table by the window, our usual spot, and ordered a flat white. My hands weren't shaking, surprisingly, maybe because I'd played this moment out so many times in my head already. The scene, the lines, the exit. When Clara walked in, she looked exactly as she did on LinkedIn, clean-cut, glossy, radiating confidence, like she had nothing to hide. But when her eyes found mine, something flickered. Hesitation? Guilt? I couldn't tell. She smiled too wide. Ellie. I stood to greet her, let her kiss me on both cheeks like we were still two students navigating Paris together. It's been ages, she said, sliding into the seat opposite me. You look amazing. Thanks. So do you. We both sat, the air between us already buzzing with the unspoken. She waved over the waiter and ordered an oat milk cappuccino. So, she began, clasping her hands, I know I disappeared after graduation, and I'm really sorry. Things just got crazy. Between job interviews, sorting out my visa paperwork, moving apartments, I didn't mean to ghost you, truly. I tilted my head. You didn't mean to? She paused. I just needed space. Life was overwhelming. I nodded slowly. It must have been overwhelming to get credit for work you didn't do. Her expression changed, just a flicker, but I saw it. I'm not sure what you mean. I leaned in. Your capstone paper, the one on Nietzsche and postmodernism, the one I wrote with you. Or should I say, for you. Ellie, you posted about it, called it your solo success. You've built a whole online persona around being a self-made academic. That paper was supposed to be a group project until I let you submit it alone under your name, because you panicked, because I trusted you. She looked around nervously. Can we not do this here? No, I said. Here is perfect. She whispered harshly. It was just one paper. I pulled out my phone and opened the folder. I have the drafts, the emails, the submission receipt from my IP address. You sent the final version from my laptop. You were too busy having wine on the balcony to finish the last section. Her face reddened. You're acting like I stole something. You did. You stole credit. And then you vanished. And now you're selling a story that never happened. Clara swallowed hard. I didn't think it would matter. It was just a university assignment. People move on. I didn't. She stared down at her untouched cappuccino. What do you want from me? An apology? No, I want honesty, not to me, to yourself. She didn't answer. The silence dragged between us. I finally stood up. You built your image on a lie. You can keep pretending, but at some point it will catch up with you. And when it does, remember this conversation. I turned to leave, but just before I reached the door, she called after me. Wait, I turned. I did it because I was scared, she said, voice trembling. I knew I wasn't good enough, and being around you made me feel like I could be. But after graduation, I panicked. I thought if I stayed close, you'd always remind me of how much I owed you. I didn't want to be the sidekick anymore. I looked at her for a long moment. You were never the sidekick, I said softly. You chose that role when you lied. Then I walked out. 2 weeks later, I got an unexpected email. It was from Clara. No greeting, no explanation, just a link. I clicked it. It was a blog post on Medium titled, The Truth About My Capstone Paper and the Friend Who Carried Me. I read every word. She confessed to everything, the help I gave, the hours I put in, the sleepless nights. She named me, thanked me, said she was ashamed, said she hadn't been ready to be honest, but she was now. The piece went viral within the academic community. Some praised her bravery, others criticized the dishonesty. But for once, the story was out there, and it was true. She reached out again. I didn't reply, not out of malice, but because some things don't need closure from the other person. Sometimes standing up for yourself is the closure. Now, whenever I walk by that cafe on Rue Bonaparte, I don't feel anger anymore. I feel relief, because Paris didn't take my trust. It gave me a lesson I'll carry forever. Not every friend is forever. Not every story needs a happy ending. But every voice, when it finally speaks up, deserves to be heard. And mine was. Thank you for listening to The Story Voice. If this story moved you, inspired you, or made you think, don't keep it to yourself. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a story. And if you've got a story you think the world needs to hear, drop it in the comments. I might just tell it next. Until then, keep listening and keep feeling.